round and round and round and round, and that won't make any sense on YouTube. Maybe if you listen to Revolution Radio at 2 a.m. on Wednesdays, you'll be able to hear the intro, but YouTuber special. Let's put it that way. You are listening to Planet Collingwood, Open Roundtable. My name is Monty Dean here on Studio A on Revolution Radio. Big thank you to the Y-Files and the gentlemen. It was good to hear them laugh. Well, to be fair, try and laugh, because they're elderly gentlemen. They are wise ones. And they would start laughing and then wheeze for air, which is, well, as a comedian, really fun to watch. But they were laughing. And you need a sense of humour in this moment of now, because it's, well, we need a scale here. Is it crazy, insanity, farce, silly, just ludicrous speed? Where are we at? If you enjoyed the last 2 hours, please go to said websites, freedomslips.com and or revolution.radio, and click the donate button and give what you can. Thank you, Omega Luglis. I'm getting better at saying names. Me special. Just been told that we sound wonderful and our dulcet tones are broadcasting globally to 6 people. However, they're my 6 people, and I love you from afar. Let's be fair. If you liked the Y-Files, or just Why Not's Roundtable, it doesn't have the same zing. I didn't see it on a T-shirt. The Y-Files, however, oh my, marketing, ladies and gentlemen, merchandise. Go watch Spaceballs again. Much better than Last Jedi. Spaceballs, it's all about merchandising. Because of that film, Elon Musk actually sold a flamethrower on his website. It sold out in pre-order. Humanity, I'm scared. Please donate, as you said, as you said. What are you talking about? Sorry, I've got my guest talking in the chat, and I mentioned the Blue Oyster Bar. That's one for the comedic memory. That's from the Police Academy movies. Yes, that's right. Where gentlemen like to wear leather and be comforted by each other. Zing. So, yeah, if you donate what you can, and everything does go to this, keeping the station on air, keeping Studio A and B on. As you can see, what's going on in what we refer to as the real world, which is fake. It's going off like a frog on a sock in a fry pan. And so obviously, don't sell your children. We don't accept children. I mean, that's just we're not the elite, ladies and gentlemen. And then once you're at the website, pop into the chat room and hang out with awesome people, because sometimes what they say is just awesome. That's just a non-judgmental statement. It's not a positive or negative. Sometimes it's awesome. And it's good to connect with other people around the planet. Then you've also got the merchandising there as well, like T-shirts, caps, and I know in the United States you're going into the winter. So I don't know, do we have beanies? That is a possibility. If not, I'm just giving someone an idea. So if you'd like to join us here on Planet Collingwood, I believe it's still Freedom Screen on Skype, and or Monty.Dean is my contact. And if you're part of my contacts, just sling me a message and I'll add you to the call, like these guests I prepared earlier. Hang on, I need a producer, so I'm just talking to myself and filling air as I write 2 words down. I have been joined by, I'm going to say everyone's name and then say hello to names individually. So prepare yourself, gentlemen. We have been joined by Steve Zerilath, Cortek, John Z, Bruce MacDonald, and the Viking. Steve, how are you? And you're up to your old sneaky tricks again, aren't you? Like we're broadcasting.
Listen here. These erroneous claims, about, what happened a couple weeks back. Listen, I am all thing elect Zerilath, and you make sure you say my title, sir.
Sure, yeah, but do you call Biden president-elect? I mean, yeah, you got to keep, up the thing.
Yeah, technically I'm all things select, but
oh, hello, Sailor. Oh, sorry, wrong show. We are on D Live, apparently, Steve.
Yes, we are. My D Live channel. Monty says it was cool, so we are streaming over there at Zerilath. Zerilath on D Live. Help me get up to if I can get up to 200 followers, then I can start really playing around with the system. Right now, I'm just a little peon till I get 200.
Okay. SJ, your camera's on again. It's good to see you, don't get me wrong, but this is an audio format. Cortek, how are you, old boy? Thank you, SJ.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, unfortunately. I mean, yes, we can. Yes.
Sorry, I was just stuffing around with things. I'm fine. I've got nothing to say, really. I just want to hang out with people and talk to someone because I haven't been able to get through to anyone on my ham radio.
Yes. The last week, Cortex is like, I have a ham radio. I have a beef radio. What the hell are you talking about? So it's good to hear you. In chat, Popsicles, I'm not a skinny wafer. It's thin. Skinny is fat shaming somehow. So actually, I've been losing weight. I'm looking quite fetching, ladies. We also have been joined by our New York correspondent, which I believe is the only person left in New York because it's just going to hell in a handbasket, New York style. John Z, how are you, sir?
Good. I got my ham radio tuned to the frequency 66.6, just in case.
Ah, right. The decimal of the beast.
Bro, I might be in ham radio distance from you. What's the range on those?
That's a good question.
Isn't that Die Hard 3?
Yeah, it is.
It's a command module. It's a command module.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of entertainment purposes there. We've also been joined by Bruce MacDonald, and Bruce was lucky enough to get me awake this morning. So I actually went on Revolution Radio at 2 a.m. my time. I got out of bed at 12:30, Bruce. So I'm proud.
Right on, right on. Sweet. Hey everybody.
Hey Bruce.
Let's just talk about what we need to talk about, but let's stay away from the homosexual rape sodomy.
Ah, yes. For those who were awake and listened to MacDonald in the morning, welcome to Monty in the morning, where it's all about the dirty porn. No. We've also now to go completely the opposite direction. We've been joined by the Viking. How is the West Coast, my friend?
The West Coast is doing well. Evening, gents. The usual suspects I see.
Oh, yes. And we have been joined also by SJ.
Uh-oh.
Hey, Viking.
Uh-oh.
Hey.
Oh, looks like I'll be directing traffic. SJ, are you fumbling for your mute button?
Uh-oh.
No, not at all. That's a Skype thing. I always hit the microphone only, and it always puts me on your show with both things wide open.
Ooh. Don't say that to phrasing. Don't say that to a comedian. Really? Hello. Oh,
I especially would like to say it to a comedian. We need a lot more laughs about this because so much of this is ironic.
Oh, yes. Satire, parody, irony. I mean, there was a great joke about, sorry, my fellow Americans, but yeah, it's ironic that Americans don't usually get irony.
I just realized
went right over his head.
The Epstein conspiracy is 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon for conspiracy theorists.
What's happening with that?
Yes. And our final guest, and then I'll be using the talking stick as I'll be beating you like a Zen master, so we can try and get everyone to speak at their own time, as well as so the listener can actually go, what the hell is they can follow along, even though it's going to be all over the place. But that's Planet Collingwood. But at least we're not talking over each other, and it's not gibberish. We've also been joined by HiJacker. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I come to hijack, and we are going to party. You need to take that talking stick, that's for sure.
I have power, sir.
All right, I'm half sick, but no, there's nothing funny about tonight. There's nothing funny about the fate of basically Western civilization. That's what we're dealing with. That's what we're trafficking in. Go ahead.
Bruce, would you like to respond? Just to make, I'm going to just move the conversation going. Bruce, just respond, and then we'll move on.
Well, that reminds me of a story that involves a bucket of acorns, a liter of pure virgin olive oil, a Volkswagen bus, and a girl named Sally.
Okay.
But I'll tell that.
Hey, wrong show.
I had a Volkswagen bus like that.
Please don't tell me you knew someone called Sally.
It was an adventure in a cornfield.
Bruce, there's your title.
Ain't nothing funny about this round table.
Totally killed funny.
Very serious, very grim.
Well, yeah, we're getting to the point where, I mean, especially with the rest of the Revolution Radio, they can dissect everything seriously. But we sort of need that little, as SJ say, a bit of laughs and try and deal with the humor of all of it, because it's getting ridiculous. It's day 22 of the election.
Yeah, levity. That's the word you're looking for.
Yes, we can talk about the information, but we will be taking the piss out of it, as we do say, because it's just getting ridiculous, where it's flip-flopping and all over the place, and the global narrative have no idea what it's doing, and blah, blah, blah. I still find it funny that CNN's for sale. Anyone got $6? Let's buy a news organization.
Yeah, well...
I think I might have I think I deleted it when I deleted my old YouTube account, but I had made this video that that now I can't prove exists, but it was called The Death of Fake News. And what's happening like right now with the sell-off issue with CNN has been going on for a while, because I made that when I first heard about CNN trying to get sold off or whatever. And so I guess it's still in the cards for what I said in that video to come true.
Yeah, AT&T,
so
I believe.
Remembers that I made that video, which is probably no one, because I think it had 9 views.
But you've now recorded in the Akashic Records that you did have a video of saying it. So,
so everybody scry with your psychic abilities for it, because I'm pretty sure this crowd is filled with people with psychic curious personalities.
Excellent. I came up with a word a couple of shows ago, psychopathy or something like that. I was talking about psychopaths because it's very interesting, like going with the David Icke description of the planet. We're run by psychopaths, but no, we're ruled by psychopaths and run by idiots. There seems to be, like, how we're seeing a lot of division in a lot of things. I've got the feeling the rulers have just gone, we'll take a step back and let the idiots figure it out for a while. Because until when does the Electoral College actually does its thing and vote? Is it the 8th of December or the 14th of December or something like that?
14th.
Yeah, the 14th. Really, until that happens, we're sort of in a holding pattern, flying around and around and around.
The 8th. There are steps. The 8th is actually an important date in the electoral process, though. The 8th is the certification, like the last, I think it's like the last day that the states must certify, right? And there's 5 states that are in dispute right now. And then after that, they go to the Electoral College, who actually makes the vote. I think I got that order of operations correct.
Right. Steve, so I don't know if it's the 8th or the 12th. It talks about basically a safe harbor where they go into. But what we're actually looking at now is we're looking at the upending of about 5 or 6 battleground states right now. So the Trump campaign, just to bring everybody up to speed, the Trump campaign has basically said that the legislatures in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin are all meeting, and they're going to have a hearing on whether they're going to certify and the vote total. I'm a little sick right now, so I'm kind of wounded right now. I got a fever. I'm sick. But anyways, so those 3 states, and then in Nevada, in Arizona, 6,000 votes have been basically fraudulent votes for Trump. Biden, which means it's only down to 4,000 votes. In Nevada, in Clark County, they think they're going to be able to take that one too. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5 states. And so we get to Georgia, and Georgia, the Kraken is supposed to be released tomorrow, and that's Sidney Powell. And that's all the basically the Dominion, Snapchat,
the voting programs. Yeah. Also, for those playing at home, Sydney, the way that the media is manipulating. I know it's not a shock to anyone that listens to this show. The media is totally manipulating that. Where the Trump legal team said, "Oh, she's not with us." And they've all thought, oh, well, what she's doing, she's wasting time. She's actually putting together her own case for the people to put into
right. They separated.
Yeah.
Basically, the strategy was, let's separate the electronic ballots from the mail-in ballots, the paper ballots. Let's basically separate that, And so Giuliani, his whole strategy is paper ballots, sign-in ballots, backdated ballots, covered up walls, poll watchers, that type of thing. But Sidney Powell, the female, political master warrior, she's saying, no, it's all about, basically the Kraken. And so she's going a completely different electronic type voting ballot angle.
What's the Kraken here?
Right. So that's what we're looking at right now.
The Kraken basically is she's got enough evidence to bury whoever. And so, because
it's biblical.
Yes.
Goes,
is
tomorrow,
she the Kraken, or is she releasing some other entity?
Metaphorically, she's releasing the Kraken. It is a meme in popular culture, which is Liam Neeson playing Zeus in Clash of the Titans remake, and it's a great line, release the Kraken, and it's been used for 6-7 years.
Right, what the Kraken is. What the Kraken is.
Yeah.
What the Kraken is basically out of Norway, there's supposed to be this is like flat earth theory, which I'm a flat earther. But anyways, this giant squid comes up from deep underneath the ocean and grabs.
Maybe a Cthulhu legend?
I'm sure we have to IMDb this.
Right, and pulls them down.
Yeah, let's go to Steve, because he's kind of knows a little about the Norse, and I'm sure that it's all, and I'm not sure if they borrowed from the Greek. It's been, as Bruce was trying to say, it's antiquity. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, the Kraken invokes a lot of things. It's kind of just a general term for like a sea monster, often associated with either a giant squid or giant octopus. Because, the most notable Krakens is not just from Greek mythology, which does kind of have he's got like I guess he's like sort of like a squid meets like Godzilla. Is kind of like what that Kraken was. It was a mer Godzilla, but it's squid all Lovecraftian and such, right?
Mr. Z.
I understand something.
Yeah, but it's basically a giant sea monster.
No, I get it's a sea monster. What
context
are we talking? I thought we were talking politics here.
The context is. Hush. I've got a big stick here. Hush. The Kraken in this metaphor, it's basically a god releasing its attack animal and taking down a ship. That's basically the idea of release the Kraken.
For who? On what side? That's what I'm trying to get to.
Since Sidney Powell is representing the people of the United States, she's trying to find out who did all the voter fraud in short language.
Right. By the way, Sidney Powell. Wait a minute, Sidney Powell. By the way, she is a military officer who is allowed to actually prosecute. She's a prosecutor, a federal U.S. district prosecutor and military prosecutor that can prosecute military people for treason. And so she's a big bean for action. 500 cases. She wins like 79%. And so when she talks about the Kraken, what she's talking about, what she's going to release tomorrow in Georgia is going to completely devastate Georgia. It's going to go to the Supreme Court.
And we also, very quickly, we've been joined by another guest, and it looks like we'll need to take 2 cars for the after party. John from Victoria, how are you, sir?
Dude, I'm good. I wasn't going to interrupt. I'm interested in what you guys are saying. I was just going to play devil's advocate when someone said something that was too ridiculous.
But, oh, geez, you're going to be busy there.
That's a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, Monty, let's go to the 20-second rule. Let's go to the 20-second rule.
And that's kind of complete anarchy with no rules.
So,
yeah, okay. Let's go to Viking.
She also represented General Flynn and got him extricated. So her now taking on the left side of the aisle allows her now to prosecute it with military tribunal force, where on the Giuliani side, they're basically trying to expose fraudulence in the voting regime. So she's taken down people. He's basically taken down the entire election results. Now, the other thing is, we're not even sure that they're going to ratify the election. They could actually, with all of these SCOTUSs being assigned to different sectors of the United States, we very well could find for the first time in history the entire electoral process being thrown out, and it's scheduled for 120 days from November 2nd, because on November 2nd, he created an executive order under 14th Amendment, the 1776, something with the 1776 ratification. So this whole thing can go sideways.
Like, here's the deal, right? The Kraken, what I think it means is, I think the metaphor is meant to also give us a hint of what of the way it's going to unleash itself. Multiple angles from the same source. So we can imagine, if you will, let's imagine that Sidney Powell is the head of the Kraken. She's basically saying, release me to drop the prosecution, to drop the bomb, right? When she drops that, it's a chain reaction that chain reacts the Trump campaign, the personal legal team of the president, because of what is shown in perhaps unsealed indictments, et cetera, et cetera. AG Barr gets triggered. Perhaps certain good guy state level attorney generals get triggered. I mean, like the state of Florida, if there's something fishy in Florida that pops up, that kind of thing, right? Like, so this chain reaction where the whole legal system, it's like there were two Leviathans, and then we got one to purify itself to become the good guy because it's serving the Patriots, right? So now you've got a Kraken and a Kraken, and they're both fighting the deep state Kraken versus the what Trump built as the new and proper justice system, which would be a perfect way of capping off this entire, I'm going to jump into woohoo factor, but we're getting out of Saturn in Capricorn and Jupiter in Capricorn. You have your grand crescendo with the solidification.
Let's not get into that. Come on, let's not get into that.
Hey. Let's not get into flat Earth either. Bye-bye.
All right. No. Hey, there's a car park. Go out there and discuss it. And sorry, John, we're not talking about. Well, there is energy involved, and there has been a shift, and there's like the whole year. You've got a really wicked echo going. You've got a really good echo going.
Really?
I mean, you sound like you're standing in the middle of Shea Stadium, and it's all echoing around you.
Why?
I don't know.
In the background. Come on, HiJacker.
I mean, we're only dealing with Western civilization.
Where am I?
Chad, laugh about it. Laugh about it, white boys. Laugh about it, white boys.
No, basically.
What's going on here, man?
For those playing at home, I lost control.
You're so stupid.
Well, easy. No, you still have. There's an echo. I don't know if your speakers are too high and there's feedback going on.
Ancestors would call being lost in
let the record show that I lost control at the 28-minute mark.
So, Steve, I just wanted to confirm that you think that they use the word Kraken because of its multi-pronged approach.
Yeah, exactly. It gives us a little bit of an idea because that's what you're making you're describing something. You're letting imagination run wild. They could have said release the guard dog, release the hounds, release the dragon. But they said Kraken.
Cool. And also because it's a popular
maritime law. Remember, that also implies maritime law, and that's the globalist's inroad is the maritime system, the naval code.
I think also the main thing would be because it's a popular saying that's been around for a while. And, of course, all this is, because, the way that reality seems to work in creation, there's so many synchronicities. It's just we need Pony on. He would have a field day with all these clues.
I want HiJacker to come back with that echo. That was hilarious.
At the moment, he's trying to figure it out, so he's left.
How do you even do that?
Well, I don't know. Maybe he had his speakers up, and so it was feedbacking through his microphone.
It was pretty epic, though.
Oh yeah.
He was about to go to homosexual rape sodomy. Close.
Well, we know what Bruce's running gag is.
Well, it's everywhere.
Well, I mean, come on, the echo. The echo was funny enough when you start spitting obscenities and people.
Yes, I understand that. So we have been joined. HiJacker has returned, but before we check on if everything's working technically, we've been joined by an old friend, my birthday buddy, Wally. Are you there, sir?
Hey, I just thought I wanted to join, and I didn't want to be left out of this one.
It's been recorded, so yeah.
Exactly.
But I think that's the state of play in reality at the moment. It's just getting that crazy that we're all going a bit loopy. I mean, it's very warm here. Like summer turned up, so it's like 28, 29 degrees Celsius. Yeah. And I know the United States is starting to freeze, so yeah, this is why I like spring.
Yeah,
Wally's starting to freeze. Wally, you're what? Michigan, Minnesota,
Michigan, 29 degrees.
Right. Yeah, go ahead.
That's Fahrenheit, and also very quickly, HiJacker, you sound perfect now. So yeah, Fahrenheit. That's the other thing about we're globalism, and you've got Fahrenheit, and we've got Celsius, and my brain hurts trying to figure it out. So, do you have snow there yet, Wally?
We got 3 inches today. The weather report said less than a quarter inch, and we ended up so far with 3 inches.
Yeah, the weathermen are so hopeless these days. I don't know if it's the weather modification, the result of decades of weather modification, just the energy of the planet, or gamma rays or solar radiation, and just weird stuff is happening, and that's just the weather. And not we talk about political and have you seen that farce that is called the Great Reset? Where last week it was coming in and you'll own nothing and be happy. This week, oh no, it's all a conspiracy theory. They've flipped it already.
It's the love of comfort. Anything can be sold comfortably. Everything that they did in 2020, we had to remind people about the humanity that they were losing, because humanity was not as important to them as their comforts to alleviate their fears and their stresses and their anxieties. Not to solve the problems, but merely to make manageable following orders. And
I mean, come on, Steve. We're talking in Western civilization. If we don't win this election, it's over.
Well, not really.
Nothing
takes power.
Nothing I said makes what is untrue just because of what you just said.
No, you're true.
It's a different topic.
Basically,
you want to talk about the election, but you know what? We also have to talk about what is the actual will of the people, because I live in one of those nodes of the universe that really, really, really likes the quarantine. They really like it over here. They're really pretty cool with it, mostly because they've got money over here. And the people and the poor people have no money, but they're sure as hell comfortable, and there are a lot less cops, which puts them, I guess, a lot less on edge. So, yeah, we have to think about the human condition that is corresponding to this election.
Right.
Because
you're an anomaly.
How do you turn this situation around with the least amount of the need for a jackboot thug that will actually do protecting because people lose their crap?
Well, because the election. I spoke to this. I was wondering how long it'll take for me to till I start repeating myself from Bruce's show, because it was a really good show. That 2 hours went like that, even with the 45 minutes of Radiohead. Nothing wrong with that. I like a bit of Radiohead. The election itself was like the last American thing of freedom, and you can vote. And because now, being Revolution Radio, we are familiar where there's been chicanery and stealing of elections, all that beforehand. But it's so transparent now, and the Democrats just suck at it because a very short version of the story. Watching the election, Trump looked like he was going to win with a landslide. They stopped counting and then found all these Biden votes, and then he turns up to be he gets ahead. And to me, that's sus. And this is the other part where the media, there's no evidence. And yet it's like, well, statistically, it doesn't look right. That's my little vignette of a story. It's like, well, that sounds a bit sus, and so on and so forth and everything else like that. But the media is pushing their narrative. No, Trump lost. It's in the past, and there is no evidence. And yet there's affidavits. Even Stephen Crowder found out in Detroit where no registered voters voted, but there's over 100,000 votes or something like, there's all these inconsistencies across the 200
affidavits basically into the Republican Party. That's not into the Trump campaign. That's into the Republican Party. No, this is basically what we're taking a look at is a destruction of Western civilization. That's what we're taking a look at. If this does not hold up, it's all over.
Well, here's kind of a funny two-sided coin to everything that was just said. On one hand, here we're coming to a point where if Trump does stay in office, we're probably going to need something closer to a jackboot thug to put down any rioting that goes on. And, just because Trump wins doesn't mean we're out of the clear, because our business structure is just completely messed up. It's screwed for the entire world. And on the other hand, if Biden gets in, it's going to be a slow burn to the finish. And, neither choice is appealing over here.
Yeah.
And, the consequences it has for everything else going on around us, nobody can predict those, but those will be secondary to the immediate effect here. So it's not a good situation all around.
Yeah, I think what Steve was saying was far more important, how people have adapted in the meanwhile to all this, and what things they want to keep and what things they want to get rid of how they used to live. I think that's far more important. I don't hold any confidence in any politician one way or the other really to do everything and be that one, giant fix. It's just in my experience, it just doesn't exist. It doesn't happen.
Well, apart from the presidency, sorry to interrupt, the Republicans made ground everywhere else. It just apparently Biden won. And so if Biden actually gets in, he has to work with the Republicans, and they're calling for unity. Alyssa Milano said, I'm reaching out with an olive branch to the Republicans, and we have to get together and, bury the hatchet type thing. And it's like, well, how about an apology for being called a Nazi for 4 years? So it's... Yeah.
I'm going to extend a some-die branch to her.
Well, if it came from the actor from Charmed, we have to obey.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. So,
she is mental.
Yeah, I got COVID. Well, you did crochet your own mask, not a medical mask. She crochets it. It's
the thick wool.
Yeah.
Like the wool that seems to have hairs off its own wooliness.
Yeah, and you could poke a finger through the holes. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at the landslide. The landslide was the legislatures. Trump won up to 2 or 3 of the legislature, basically of the state legislatures, all the way up to 30. Okay, he won the House, all 28 or 27 of the 28 House Senate seats. They won. Now they're reversing that, basically through this mail-in balloting. And so you take a look at everywhere he won in a landslide. And so what are we looking at? We're looking at a completely flat-out stolen election. I mean,
I saw a short clip. I was I was a little bit here and there listening to things, but the clip said that all they had to do was jam pack 5 precincts in the 5 states, one for each state, because all they're trying to do is hit that popular vote in that state. So they cheated like crazy in 5 Democrat stronghold cities. And that's so basically the majority and what is certainly needed just for the presidency, let alone a handful of House seats, because I think some House seats, maybe even 1 or 2 Senate seats, were probably tampered with. And those might be outliers if those were caught. But we all know that all the attention is on specifically the popular vote of each state for the president. Okay. So if they that makes the way this seems a lot simpler to take care of, legally speaking. That's only 5 places that you need to prosecute.
Go ahead, Viking, and then I'll introduce our new guest.
Yeah, so this can be documented because what happened in the middle of the morning, there were spikes, where they dumped in, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands. They dumped them all in at once, and it just spiked. You see spikes. So this is what Cindy Powell is going after here, is these spikes. She has thousands of affidavits, of people coming forth. This is, so you have to understand, the Kraken is an elemental avatar. There's only one. There's only one of a kind. It's an avatar. Unstoppable, unbeatable. This to me is what I refer to the thought that she was saying. What she has is unstoppable and unbeatable. And whether she takes on the essence of the Kraken, I think that's basically what is being referred to here. But it's definitely to the point where it can be proven. But whether or not it's accepted, it's going to go to the SCOTUS. I'm still on the camp where I'm not even sure they're going to allow this election to be ratified. I believe we're going to have an extended election into March, and between the first of the year and March, you're going to see half the senators arrested. There's going to be so many arrests that it's going to be. I have to agree with HiJacker. This is the end of Western civilization because it's been corrupt and it's been absolutely a web of deceit for hundreds of years, and that is the Western civilization.
Yes, yeah, you are.
What happens then?
If I may,
civilization. That's the stolen Western civilization.
Yes, yeah, it's not the
where they stole the identity of not just the pagan, but for those pagans that wanted to be Christians, Muslims, and Jews, to transform their thinking to be anti-human. Those are important distinctions.
Yes,
right? Because I have plenty of fights with Christians, Muslims, and Jews about the Bible, the Creator, and everything else. Me and HiJacker are classic with this. Okay, but at the end of the day, I ultimately love you, and I want you to have happiness in your beliefs, because that's your life path, and that's not my place to change it. And all I ask is the same in return, and that's how it works without having to say we must become globalists or we must become racists.
Yeah, well, yeah. Now, our new guest has joined us. He joined about 15 minutes ago, but he's been quiet. Brandon Young, are you there, sir?
Oh, hey guys, how's it going?
Hey, Brad.
Yeah, it's been a lively conversation, and there's 18 people on the call, so yeah, it's going well.
Oh, very good. Yeah. So, it was just you guys talking about the election, and
it is day 22, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I've just been through. What I did was I'm just throwing out, everything for every time I see Trump, I just throw it right in the trash bin. And so anyway, how you guys doing?
Yeah, I'm slowly melting because summer's finally turned up, and it's quite good. And we're our mask mandate. We still have to wear masks if we're close to somebody, but if we're out by ourselves and with no one around, we don't have to wear a mask, which
Not
is
emotionally
good.
Close.
Wow,
Yeah, no.
your government will actually say that reasonable thing as per the logic of the mask. You actually get to have a little bit of logic in your slavery orders.
Don't bring nationality into it though. Qantas just announced today that no one will be flying on their flights without the vaccine.
Yeah, I heard all about that. Qantas is falling apart. He's doing that.
They're terrible.
Blame it on the Rona. He's just trying to blame something on the Rona, so that way when Qantas falls apart, he has a future somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because
Qantas won't be.
He looks like that type of guy.
Oh, that's a ridiculous statement. Qantas won't be falling apart. It's one of the major airlines in the world.
It's terrible. It's a terrible airline. If I'm coming back into Sydney and it's a big long haul flight coming in 6 o'clock into Sydney, I want a hot bacon egg, mushrooms, what little sausage in there. What do you get these days? Because they're cutting corners, trying to help their shareholders and not the people who actually fly the planes. You get a little pastry and a shitty little bit of fruit, and that just doesn't cut it.
Yeah, well, on the upside though, it won't crash.
Time you flew, you haven't flown for at least 18 months.
Yeah, probably.
Unless you've got a special. I fly around now again, but
Qantas is going to fly out of Sydney or Australia. Where's it going to go to? It's going to go to LAX airport.
Exactly.
And then it's going to go to Chile. Why is that? Have you ever thought about that?
Have you
ever thought about why an Australian aircraft would spend 36 hours in the air going to LAX and then going to Chile? Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, sure.
I have.
My business plan, Qantas business plan, there's no money in flying to Chile, man. This is money. You're talking about something that doesn't come into the concept the airline will ever think about.
Yeah,
we need routes. We need bums on planes, bums on seats.
You never thought about why an Australian aircraft doesn't fly over the South Pole?
And it's also, if I may, apparently I can't. Oh, that's a shame. It's my show.
Get your stick out.
Stop!
I'll
ban people.
Jacker.
No, not really.
Jacker, you're the only guy here
all right.
wants to talk about flat Earth subject matter.
Yeah, and I can't talk on my own show, so thanks for that. Now, if I may, I figured out it's easier to land on land than in water. Because if you're flying over water and you need to make a pit stop, land's more preferable than trying to slam into the sea.
It's got floats on.
Yeah, it's got floats on. No, those floats would be huge. Anyway, Qantas is. It'll be. I don't see Qantas. They may get rid of what's his name because he's an idiot. Because the stockholders will not put up with his shenanigans. There are travel agencies not even working with Qantas now because of the tyranny that's involved. And the thing about that's because they haven't crashed yet.
Come on, Monty.
It's been over. Okay, let's change the subject.
Come on, flat Earth rules. Everybody knows.
Yeah, we live in a hologram, HiJacker. So
come on.
Yeah, we do live in a hologram.
HiJacker, about 10 minutes ago, you wanted to be focused on the election fraud, and now you want to be focused on flat Earth, and that is nowhere near the part where everybody else's wavelength is at.
Right? Come on, Steve. You come on, lizard. I'm a panther. I saw a chance jump. Come on.
You really don't want to talk about things that are happening
Right. Let's not talk about the big things. About
like Jacker, maybe you don't have to go to market every day and deal with the issues of the comfortable quarantine.
I don't.
But listen, man. I don't think Revolution Radio is about the guy having the experience of not being out in part of the world that they are complaining about.
So yeah, you're going to go from Australia to Chile, 36 hours. You're going to go through LAX.
It's 16 hours, and due to economics, they need to make money. There's more people in Los Angeles that go to from Australia compared to going to Chile.
They're going to go to the other side of the planet to go down to right.
Yeah, as I said, and also, I'll go ahead, John.
For both of you, I'll was just some research, and I'll tell you a bit later tonight or on the next show. I'll look, but I'd suggest if we flew a flight from Sydney to Chile, you'd probably have about 12 people on it.
Yeah, that wouldn't cover
it's
fuel.
It's air routes, man. It's all worked out to make money, And okay, I agree with you. Qantas has got some big problems, but there's no other airline to replace it, man.
No, every airline goes through LAX. Basically, they go to the North Pole and then they go to South America or Chile. Yeah.
Because there's more money. It's you don't have a bus route that goes, Hawaii.
Come on, they can't load a plane up. They can't load a plane up. Come on.
Just one more question for Jack. Okay, if that's the case, why can I book? I can't book one at the moment because of COVID, but I can fly direct from New Zealand or here in Australia and fly over Antarctica. You say that can't be done.
Oh, no, it can't be done. No, it can't be done.
Sorry, dude.
No.
Oh, man, it's ridiculous.
All right, can we stop saying come on? Because we all sound like Biden.
Go check your plane charts.
Come on.
They have flights over Antarctica. It is
no, they do not. There are no flights over Antarctica.
There's photographic evidence. Go ahead, Steve.
No, it's over. It's over. Flat Earth rules. What do you think? What do you think is going on with Donald Trump and basically the demon people?
The way that HiJacker is going to respond to the next thing I'm about to say is going to tell you whether HiJacker likes to live in the world of reality or belief. The way to solve this problem, the easiest way to solve this problem, it's expensive but easy, is that you get a boat or a plane if you so choose, and you fly around the circumference of Antarctica.
You cannot fly over Antarctica, period.
They do it all the time.
Admiral Byrd did it.
Cortek, you're not helping.
Interrupting me because he's terrified of the logic that if you curve inward while going around it, which there is no restriction in circumferencing Antarctica, that you curve inward.
There is no flight from Australia over.
You are on a disc, but if it curves outward,
just look at the damn map.
All right, guys,
we're roundabouting.
I can't believe we're doing this. I can't believe we're doing this.
Three-dimensional structure.
Oh, that's right, because of flat Earth. Flat Earth destroys everything.
Well, because
I thought you were super serious, Jack. You're going to release the Kraken.
No, can we have everyone talk at once? I'm still making out sense.
Okay, when are we going to start? Start on 3.
No, Cortex, stop that.
Go around. Around Antarctica.
Steve,
no, you can't go around. There is no flights over it. Period. There are no flights.
Yeah, and what has this got to do with wearing a mask or not? What does this actually have to do with wearing a mask or not? Because there's anti-maskers out there, and for me, it comes down to free will. If you want to wear a mask, will you shut up?
Doesn't want to talk about freedom. HiJacker doesn't want to talk about freedom.
And you don't want anyone else to talk.
Talk about God. That's it. That's all he wants to talk about.
What they're doing is they're hiding God.
And that's his universe.
You hiding God, Steve.
Yeah. No, they're with flat Earth. They're hiding God. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, but
that's
I can see God in a flower. So a
grain of sand.
Yeah, no. Well, technically yes, but a flower's much better about it.
Monty, I'm just saying that it's up to you because you're the moderator.
There are no flights over there are no flights over the South Pole. Period.
There is. Let's move on.
No, there's not.
Okay, wait. So all the
I've got a great tartar sauce recipe.
Really? How do you make it?
Well, use TARDIS.
It's over. Your alien,
This is how ridiculous it is.
perception, all of your stuff, it's over. It's over.
Not.
Flat
It's
Earth
not. There's
killed
too
you
much
all.
Ridiculous.
There's
Can
too
we-
much
can we
evidence.
move on?
Flat Earth killed you all off.
Yeah. It also kills.
everybody.
It also kills conversations because there's no respect.
Yeah, can I add the esteemed Mike Ringley kind of put a yay or nay to discuss this on this station way back? So let's hold some respect there, maybe.
Yeah, mainly because it turns into an argument. Because let's take this little conversation to complete conversation where there's a polarization. It's very hard to try and get people together because there is no conversation. If you try and talk to a BLM or an Antifa or whatever, and you're wearing a MAGA hat, they think you are instantly a Nazi. And there is no conversation between the different parties. And it's just, I find highly hilarious that Biden's asking, we need unity and we'll work together. It's like, you've been ramping up the division for 4 years.
Here's your armband. Here's your armband.
Yeah, I mean, why do you think the powers to be want to do that? They know that the power of flat Earth is coming on the earth.
It's divide and conquer, isn't it?
The power
Divide and
of
conquer.
Yeah,
the power of division, buddy.
Yeah.
That's the word you're looking for.
And it's a divide and conquer, and it's a distraction. And
Monty,
we've spent 10, 15 minutes arguing about something that we can neither.
Monty, 100 million people, 100 million people do not believe this shit about heliocentric Earth. They know that the Earth is flat. All you gotta do
out of 7 billion. So if you want to go numbers,
Stop
interrupting.
Sorry.
That's for everyone. Thank you for the response there. Because, once again, how we can have a conversation if we're just yelling at each other? This is how wars start. Not us. John Z would win. Let's be fair. Yeah, I could take you out with my thumb, mother lover. Yeah. All right, we're coming up to the break, and hopefully we do have an audience after the break.
I think you got a big audience right now. I think you got the biggest audience right now.
Yeah, because people like drama. It's just drama, and it's not. Oh, it's
no. We know.
Yeah, and we also know it's a hologram.
9 guys on deal.
Oh, nice. Hello. Please send a lemon, and that's not code. That's actually part of the platform. You can send lemons.
Is it like
why Trump and Biden and everybody else is doing what they're doing? It's because of flat Earth. They know everybody's waking up.
No, well, that doesn't explain all the extraterrestrials and demons and elementals and and everything else like that.
Well, yes,
just saying it's fake.
Hybrids.
Yeah, and also, are we dealing? What's the time? What's the timeline history? Are we going 6,000 years or 60 million years? Because
we got we got mud flood. We got buildings. I mean, come on. Okay, Monty, where do you live? Where do you live?
Number 24.
It's called Earth.
No, Monty. Where do you live?
It basically the continent of Australia.
Victoria, where do you live?
Yeah, in Victoria.
That's enough, Jackie. You went in this route with me last week.
No, wait a minute.
It's no good.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Monty, what is the oldest building in your state? What is the oldest building?
I don't know.
Go ahead and Google it. You think that men can build that building?
Shouldn't we? Yeah, we're going to a break now. Thank you. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, hopefully you're still listening to Revolution Radio. This is Planet Collingwood, the Insane Edition. We'll be back after these very short messages.
That's good, Monty. You're very funny.
Thank you. Please mute, everyone. Welcome back to Planet Collingwood Open Round Table here on Revolution Radio. If you enjoyed the last hour, what's wrong with you? No, I kid. Please donate what you can so we can continue on broadcasting on Studio A and B. We're 100% listener supported and also 100% volunteer. So there's an element of freeness going on. We're free to not earn money from this. But still, we do it for fun and sharing of the information and the sharing of ideas. And so your donations do help out. Say just, $10 a year and, 4,000 people do that and we can cover our costs because these people want debt notes for their services. And then once you've done that, you can pop into the chat room and hang out with like-minded, like-hearted, and just liked people. Dare I say, even lovely people. There's also merchandise for hats, caps. I don't think we have a beanie. I think we should, since half the US ends up in snow. I'm doing an intro. No, that's being rude.
No, I'm telling you, where can they get your stuff? Basically.
If you go to my YouTube channel, which is Wafer Thin Entertainment, there is a PayPal donation button on that page, and that will take you to my PayPal, and you can donate to me as well.
And that's what keeps him going on. That's what keeps Monty going on.
Yes, it does. Like I do have a regular donator, and they're awesome because I can buy food or cigarettes, so I stay sane and alive. So everyone wins. So,
you're so honest, Monty. Buy cigarettes. So if you want to buy Monty cigarettes, go ahead and vote. Donate to Wafer
Thin Entertainment.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we the people that survived the cull of the break. We have Brandon Young, Cortek. Harry has joined us. Give us a second, Harry, and I will introduce you. John from Victoria, John Z, who will refer to as Mr. Z because there's two Johns, unless we all change our name to John, and that'll be very confusing. Steve Zerilath, who is also broadcasting on D Live, so share the lemons. See, that's not a euphemism. That's actually part of the platform.
You're a big hit on D Live. The chat room is all.
We also have the HiJacker, the Viking, Wally, and Monty D. No, I don't like him. So Harry, how are you?
Yeah, I'm going well.
Oh, calm down. So you enjoying the heat?
Yeah.
Oh, you settled down, son.
Thanks for calling, but I just can't talk to you right now.
yeah. To compare to the Americans on the call, which is awesome because they're American. That's why they're acting American. Then you have the laid back Australian, and then we have from Victoria, Harry. Yeah, g'day. It's good to be
here.
A bit of balance of the energy there. I'm fine.
I'm going good. Yeah, I am. I just got home from work listening to you all ramble on. It's hilarious. And I thought I'd join in. I'm trying to see if Eilish can come on as well. But
you should be able to add them to the call.
Yeah, I'll try and drag her across or something. That works.
We're talking in Skype, of course. We're not talking in physical because that's wrong, ladies and gentlemen. We're not the elites.
Let's talk about how Flat Earth is driving.
No, we're not. No, we're not. Because we're at the end of this conversation. Okay. Again, you believe in Flat Earth. We don't. We're not going to sway. So we're going over and over and over again.
That's the one thing we can't talk about.
And do you want to know why we can't talk about it?
It's because it's driving the agenda of the whole world.
No, that's wrong. No, that's not why. No, that's not why we can't talk about it.
Respect to the station creator.
We can't talk about it because we've come to the end of that conversation and we just start to argue. And it's been going on for 4 years. We're repeating ourselves over and over again.
5 years. Okay, so what do we want to Okay, I would agree with you, Monty. What do you want to talk about? I'll drop the Flat Earth.
Yeah, I think he wants to let other people have a say and see what other people think.
Right. No. Listen, I'm surrendering.
No. That's not allowed.
Can you let me surrender? Okay, I'll surrender the subject of Flat Earth, that it's basically driving the whole world because they know that everybody, 100 million people are waking up to it.
You're repeating yourself.
Let's go through the elections.
John Z.
Let's go through Trump.
Let's see what John Z thinks.
Actually, Cortek, you're not my understudy.
Sorry,
we can have a conversation. You can. That's awesome.
Here's the stick back.
I would like. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to drop it.
Sticky?
I'll drop it. Go ahead.
Yes. Monty. Thank you, John
Monty,
Z.
Go ahead.
Put a blue light on it.
John Z, I would like to hear your perspective of what's happening in New York. Your governor is, how do I say it in a non-judgmental way, a very unique individual.
Yes, he's a very unique snowflake, Monty.
Well, if you want to put judgment in, but yeah, because like, are you aware?
The man's got nipple rings. I don't know what to make of him.
Oh my god, I saw that. It was through his white shirt or something like that. That was just wrong. That was just wrong.
And you brought it up. Now I have to go through it. So like, yeah, John, what's it like from the streets of New York?
Well, a couple of oddities. Without getting into details, I hear there's a lot of shootings going on pretty much daily. The police are more of a John Wick body service now, where they just call the guys and they clean it up. As far as what's been going on in the streets, you can definitely see there's definitely changes in everything, down to the traffic and down to the people, because a lot of people have straight up left, gone on extended vacations, stuff like that. The tension is rising up, and you're seeing a lot more police patrols is the best way to put it.
Well, John Z, when you go to work, do you drive or do you get on the subway? Are there less people on the subway? Are there less cars on the road?
Yeah. There's less people.
How do you get to work?
There's less people everywhere overall, no matter what you're doing.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, how many less? Like 10% less, 20%, or 90%? I mean,
I don't know, but depending on the area, it could be more, could be less. But there's a noticeable drop everywhere.
It does.
Some areas.
I want to state, like, as a Lyft driver, that like major thoroughfare traffic, basically like I-95, the highways and parkways, they kind of are the same. Okay. Like major travels are a lot. Like, it's a little different, but the major travels are fairly busy, at least most of the day. I'm not out there after 10 p.m. Even before curfew stuff happens.
What makes it so odd here?
Long story short is people are staying in often, more like they're not going out like the way they were during the summer. They're still traveling, but then when they travel, they're getting in.
Yeah,
so they're going
from. So,
well, I mean,
hold on, John was going to say something.
It makes it so much more of a difference here because it's New York. Okay, there's usually a lot of foot traffic, and I'm sure there's more people staying indoors general. But I'm talking like even like at major, rush hour times. Like even in the morning, it's different. It's noticeable. But like I said, like because it's New York, you notice so much less foot traffic overall, and especially in Manhattan. And depending where you are, it looks, if it's like 11, it's not quite noon yet, and you don't have the lunch hour traffic and all that stuff. It looks like a ghost town. It's crazy.
Oh yeah! Wow.
Can I ask? Do you think it's just that is the percentage of people working from home rather than going to work?
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, I have no doubt more people are working from home. That type of stuff. But when you look at the overall landscape of the things, including especially the small businesses, even like some of the bigger franchises that have, let's just say smaller owners, you notice like all that type of stuff now because this is affecting everyone across the board.
Yeah.
A prominent club in Brooklyn that I can't remember if my band has played there, one of my bands that I've been in, but certainly my friends have played there, and I've seen larger bands there. There's a place called Blackthorn. It was around for quite a few years in it's like Brooklyn or Queens.
Sounds metal.
From my bandmates that place just closed up. Now it had a kind of a bad reputation with the indie scene, the local scene, because of there was a little bit of a pay to play going on. So bad business decisions. The business they're glad is gone. But it is one less venue at the same time. news. You know,
any
so
venue shutting down.
My point is that, like, yeah, my mom is working from home. I've been doing tech support for her because, you know, she's tech-tarded and there's a Brazilian freaking like guy who runs the company in Brazil. So there's all this weird internet stuff that she has to do that I'm helping her with. But, you know, those are one kind of job, but jobs that, you know, but the jobs that really make, you know, America are jobs that are like really involved with just in general being out there and doing and being around a team of people, and where your team is not thinking all the time about the distance between them. Typically, they're getting close all the time so they can speak to each other, and do normal things like shake hands or slap. Slap like congratulations, kind of slapping kind of thing, like or right. Whatever the heck they're doing.
Right.
You know,
Monty,
these economies all based on groupings are being
Monty got,
even if you're outside. It's horrible.
He's basically got a couple of callers. I wish I wasn't so damn sick.
Okay, can you hold on a second? I just kind of missed the last thing, like the actual kind of conclusion Steve was coming to there.
No, Monty's got a couple of callers, new callers on the line.
Yeah, we've introduced
He's
Harry.
Got like 13 people. He's got like a gang of people.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I only brought 6, but I don't know. 6 what? I don't know. I'm just being silly. We just introduced Harry and, dare I say, Harry's friend, Ali? Is that how you say it?
Eilish.
Hi, my name is Eilish. Yeah.
Eilish, there you are.
Oh, so wait, so this is when Harry met Eilish?
Yeah, I love that film.
Zing!
Yeah, nice to meet you guys. Thank you so much, Harry, for your invitation and for your hospitality, gentlemen. I've just finished 2 hours with Red Pill Hardcore with V and Rob Deutsch. So it's really wonderful to just keep the conversation rolling across the alternative media platforms, because we really got to get our messages out there, because we're in really challenging times at the moment. I've only just entered this conversation, so I'm still getting acclimatized to what you guys were talking about, but I'm happy to contribute as we go. So thank you for your welcome.
You're welcome to welcome to Planet Collingwood. First things first. It's also a comedy show, so we'll be making jokes and laughing a lot as well. So
no
it's just easy to get the serious info out there if we hide it behind jokes, because the alphabet agencies are like, oh, they're all idiots. Why? But they're getting numbers and people are evolving. What's going on there? So,
speaking of flat Earth, I found out the Earth was flat once. I was playing Aussie rules and someone king hit me when I went for a jump and I hit the hard Earth pretty hard.
No, you fell on a flat bit of Earth.
Yeah, that's it.
Jeez. Anyway,
easy to get this.
Don't pick a fight with a flat Earth master.
We're not.
No.
Yeah, I'm Harry, a master warrior.
Yellow card. Yeah, yellow card, Harry. Now, we just got HiJacker under control, and
all right.
we don't need to go through 15 minutes of like, nah.
Right. Okay. All right.
It's Viking, if you're still there, because it's a large table, I don't know if anyone's dropped off. What is the economic side of things? Because there are a couple. The stock market has done well apparently today, and everyone's going, "Look, see what happens. Trump lost, and the market's going up." And the tweets I've seen is like, "Yeah, Trump's still president."
Right. So the theory, basically,
no, Viking, and then HiJacker.
Okay, go ahead, Viking.
I believe they're doing what's known as a classic pump and dump. I think they're starting to see the writing on the wall, and they're basically positioning themselves in such a way where they're getting out of their shorts. Like the comics, for example, is a disaster, which is controlling the silver market. It's imploding. I think we're just, I think it's finally coming to a point where, all this money that's being dumped into the trillions of dollars is coming out of 12 agencies. They're basically just doing a pump and dump. And I just think that we're going to see in the next 6 weeks. So the market just dropping like a stone. It's not real. It's fiction.
And also, obviously we have to figure out who's the president, and the lockdowns are coming in where they're trying to cancel Thanksgiving. It's like, what to be thankful for? That I can't see my family. Like, that's not going to work out well.
It's ridiculous.
It's like, even I saw Dave Chappelle on Joe Rogan he only turned up for an hour, but he just basically pointed out he didn't pick a side basically, but it was hard for the first lockdown, and especially as he said, as an American deep in your soul, what do you tell? You don't tell me what to do, because that's kind of the idea of America.
Human.
Yeah, well, the human, yeah, I know, but Americans have that more freedom compared to us. Like, they have their First Amendment of free speech. Here in Australia, it's alluded to that we have free speech.
Well, it's a given.
No, well, it's not given. It's like you can unless we disagree with it.
Go ahead, but Brandon. I will still tell you what I think.
Yeah, don't worry. That's how a lot of fights start here in Australia. Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, I was going to... Fine.
Okay, go, Steve.
I was going to say that, and just remember to underscore, one of the trends is that there seems to be a real, like.
No,
for the most part.
Wait a minute, Steve. I want to say Viking.
Jacker, shut the fuck up.
No,
language. And Jacker, stop interrupting. I mean, Steve only got 3 words into a
sentence.
Viking. No.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah. Me host, me run things. Badly, of course, but I'm here. Steve, continue on with your idea. And HiJacker, if you want to add to it, please follow. Because I think he finished his thought. I could be wrong, but at the moment, Steve's got the ball, so let's run with it.
And 3 Benny Desperate breaths.
Jacker, I lost my train of thought because you do that all the frickin' time because you know that I'm a deep thinker. And so,
okay. All right, that could be done off air. That can be done off air. That can be done off air. Steve, we're talking about the economy and how it's going to be the stock market. Right. It's going to be a pump and dump.
On air.
Yes, I know. Okay. Yeah, let's waste time arguing.
Pump and dump.
Steve. Right. The reason why you weren't able to basically think about what your thought was is because I'm a very powerful man.
No, you're just
basically saying
rules of
social games. This can be done off air.
What? Because nobody punch you in the face.
It's not a soap opera. It's a comedy show.
No, I want to talk to Viking.
Blah, blah, blah. Monty, please. He's really killing the whole show.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Viking, why?
All you got to do is wait till people stop talking, Jack. Really, I mean that's all.
Yeah, well, no, you have to give.
Really?
Jack.
Okay.
I was talking, and you interrupted. I was going to say that you've done really well. Because I'm trying to stop talking. That's how it works. It's an audio medium, and I was going to say how awesome that question was. It was just like, why? And then you would give it to Viking, but we wasted 2 minutes waffling on about nothing. Viking, would you like to step in or even change the subject, really?
What was the Monty?
What was the question? Why would they do a pump and dump? I think that's basically what is the question.
Basically, if you look at all the larger investors and funds, they're seeing the writing on the wall, and they're going to be able to, they did this before, and they're going to try to grab as much economic graft that they can. I mean, this whole thing is a false reality. It's not real. So then, and it's their game, and I think they're seeing that there's a major shift ahead.
Yeah.
In the next 6 weeks. The next 6 weeks is going to be, I mean, when we come into January from this point, it's going to be beyond our perception. It's going to be so out there, and it's going to be so. It's just unreal because we're going through a shift here, going through a major shift, not just geopolitical, geoeconomic, the dogmatic, pragmatic viewpoints of the world that people still locked into this 3D based reality, the health of the planet, our own health, everything is in transition. We are definitely in graduation here. We're definitely at the eye of the storm. We are literally going to a new paradigm. And again, the election, the cophobia, the civil unrest, all these are old timelines that played out throughout time, are now stacking, and the transparency is going to dissolve them. This is why it's happening in this way, because it has to come into our just absolute in our face.
Yeah.
And the transparency of people waking up is going to dissolve these timelines. And we're not even, the election is just a ruse. It's not even. It's just there to wake people up. It's not even real.
What seemed to have kind of held true for me from stuff that you've said before, Viking, is just that really this seems to have to play out, and it has to play out until the end. And that reason is that it has to wake people up who aren't watching, who aren't. I don't call anyone asleep, because people are just learning things at their own pace, and we're only as strong as our weakest link. But the amount of people this whole process has woken up from whatever to the media announcing something that these people thought, well, the media said the U.S. elections was done, and then 3 days later asking why. They were getting reports that actually wasn't the real case. From the media to politics, this has just been, this has to play out, and it is to try and, just make people more aware. It seems.
I mean, believe you me, their train is hurling off the track. Their ship has crashed on the rocks. They are done, and they still think that in their own realm of reality, they still think that they have a chance. But absolutely, that they're an illusion of grasping for their survival. It is a question of humanity waking up, and it doesn't have to be, again, spiritual, or you have to be a yogi or a vegetarian. You have to realize that what took place didn't serve us. It kept us in subjugation, trauma, and slavery, and we're done. And we're waking up. That's it. And we actually hit the tipping point. There's more people now woke on this planet than any other time, in any other campaign, in any other grand experiment that has ever happened on this planet. And the Galactics are just so amazed that we've gotten this far, and we're definitely in graduation, and we're just months away here before this whole 10-year comes to pass.
Well, yeah, one way of looking at it is that Biden wants to, mandatory vaccines and masks and lockdown, and then says that America is a free country. And it's like, well, it's not. It's that transparent, where I made the observation in the second debate that they actually held, that he would flip-flop in a paragraph. He would say, I'm paraphrasing, we're not going to have lockdowns. 3 sentences later, so we're going to have a lockdown. He blames Trump for ruining the economy and shutting down. We have to open up. And then at the end of the paragraph, so we're going to have a lockdown and do exactly what Trump did, but worse. And it's because the election wasn't really against Biden and Trump. It was Trump and not Trump, because he's so polarizing. There's a division, like you love him or hate him, and there's people in the middle. And so people voted against Trump because they don't like him. But overall, because if you actually look at, Biden didn't do any campaigning. He only had 8 people turning up in circles. And then when Donald Trump did a rally, it looked like, Led Zeppelin was performing in 1975. 60,000 people would turn up. So it just doesn't make any sense. It feels wrong, the whole election thing of especially the media saying, oh, Biden won, don't question it. Yeah, but hang on, there's all this stuff. No, all wrong. And everything's being transparent, which is leading to backs up what you're saying. Is there's a paradigm shift, mostly because if we end up with Trump as president, most of the mainstream media have lost all credibility, and no one's going to listen to them anymore. Especially after 4 years of Russia, and then they actually have an investigation. No, there was no connection. They just dropped it like a bad habit and just keep going. And also, if Biden gets in, half the mainstream media are going to lose money and viewers because they're not attacking Trump anymore.
Well, he's not going to make it. It's already a done deal. But the main thing I want to point out here is, I've got friends, and I was just talking to a friend of mine dad, she had a cough, and he immediately wanted her to go get a test and not show up for Thanksgiving. I mean, these are people that are locked in and stapled into 3D, and they are fighting for their lives to keep that reality. You know, if anybody that is juxtaposed with Trump because of some implant or dark spell or some trauma that's being triggered, you know, it's their lesson in life. And this is where I keep on saying, I don't talk to anybody. I mean, I have friends that are decades old that I don't even discuss this with because I know where it's going to go. Yeah. It's not my job to change their mind. That's their contract to play out. They need to play it out as much as the deep state needs to play out. Everybody needs to play out that this whole, again, it's just this current wave now to the solstice is going to be, I mean, the celestial alignment happening on the solstice with two, what do you call those eclipses and where we're going. I mean, it's just beyond anything we've ever experienced here on this planet. It's just going to be mind blowing and mind expanding if you are in that wake.
Yeah, and just on a 3D level, we're finding out that the lie that the mainstream media puts forward, people are going, well, it's not like that. Because I leave my house and everything's going to crap. Like Bill Hicks had a great routine, like in the early 90s, where if you watch CNN for 12 hours a day, I wouldn't recommend that. But it's war, famine, death, AIDS, war, famine, death, AIDS. And you go outside and where is all this crap happening? Okay. And the only way that I know there's a virus of some sort, I refuse to say pandemic because I looked up what that means and it doesn't mean what. There's the lockdown. People are wearing masks. That's about it. Everything else is roughly the same. Now, quickly going back to the economic side of things, it seems to be someone's going to help me out with the term. They're centralizing, like all these major corporations have made billions of dollars from this year. However, the mid and lower sole traders and businesses have all been crippled. And so there's been that shift of however, there's a backlash to that where here in Victoria there are groups on Facebook and other platforms where they're putting together lists of buying local. So instead of buying off Amazon all the time, you just go 500 meters down the road and, oh, look, there's a butcher. Or there is this push now for people to actually purchase stuff locally from local businesses to help out, you know, because that's helping out humanity to keep. Yeah.
Also, if I may, the police are, they're not really rolling with the governors and the mayors. It's mostly up to the, to the corporations, and the way apps operate on your phone, so that way you can all do the Big Brother thing on each other, right? That system where we police ourselves through threatening to destroy your ability to operate with that company. Thus, why I lost Uber fighting the mask as part of the fight for them not sticking us and me with a needle, right? That whole deal. So the cops are, there's bad cops and then there's liberal cops, but by and large cops, which we have to remember before the election, what was Trump extraordinarily proud of? Every single politically affiliated organization for police in the country, not one didn't endorse. Every cop in politics, various unions and other organizations for police all unanimously endorsed Trump. Biden got nothing of any sort like that. So the cops they're going to have this impossible job, but they're on board. Like I said, we are largely in Batman 3 as a plot. And by the way, that is the thought that I lost. That's how much time I was robbed of.
Going to Cortek very quickly.
Sorry, I'm just agreeing with Steve. There's there's cops in New South Wales who
I was about to bring that
up. Over to you then.
No, I was going to ask you because you know more about it. But there are actual police officers. There's police officers in Australia that are seeing the hypocrisy, and dare I say it's got to the point of stupidity, where they're going, this is not working, where we're turning into the brown shirts in Germany, 1933.
Yeah, they see the hypocrisy in it, and they don't want to be the blunt tool at the end of a rule that is in history will not side with.
And the interesting thing about the media is that those police do not want to do what the orders are coming down. There are other ways, and you're not allowed to. You have to stay that perfect line of narrative. Don't go outside, you'll kill grandma. But there are other ways of dealing with this situation where you protect the vulnerable and you allow healthy people to go about their lives. Rand Paul got was attacked by the mainstream media because the mainstream media are idiots. Because he's a doctor. Did you know that? Like his father, he's a doctor. Yeah. He actually said 11 million people in the United States have had COVID and survived. They should be able to take their mask off and walk around and start their lives up again because they're immune to it. And CNN is like, oh, this is dangerous. And it's like, he's a doctor. He knows what he's doing.
Blasphemy. Hang him.
Yeah. And that's part of every rational person's serious problem, and wondering how it fits into the strategy because of how bad it was. That was, that's always, it made me incredibly upset with Trump, was that everything was one expert's point of view, and without any explanation, meaning there's an assumption that there is no law that prohibits the president from listening to other voices like he did on every other issue with these big roundtables. But instead he went for this incredibly laser-focused thing. And
he had to, though.
And
he had to.
It took him forever to move into another expert's point of view, where Fauci's still on the payroll because he's government, but now he has his own advisor that isn't Fauci. Fauci's still in his official capacity, but he's not part of, the way Trump does things. But unfortunately, this is also beyond Fauci, because Fauci kept changing his position. Trump during the campaign mentioned, listen, in the beginning, Fauci said you don't have to wear a mask, right? Trump should have also mentioned that his own damn Surgeon General, the same time Fauci was saying it, was also saying, guys, you don't have to wear a mask. They're not for this kind of thing. They have to be applied by an expert. All of these things. And I at least was satisfied with that as the mask narrative was coming in. But then the media pushed Fauci to flip. I've been paying attention. I've been reading on Fauci. He's a pushover. He is a pushover. He will answer the media's questions in such a way that makes it sound okay. And then the legal world then also kind of wiggles in there for corporate. And now corporate is legally qualified to not have any problems with doing this to us. This is the major part of how the control mechanism is working. And we're not given our constitutional right to, to just build a system that's going to sound coherent and allow some people to give it a try and to take some damn risks, just like we do all the time, where certain states and certain cities have different levels of gun control and different results, which, by the way, it turns out more gun freedom somehow leads to less gun death. So perhaps more breathing freedom, more love freedom will lead to less death from COVID.
Yeah, and
just a crazy idea that perhaps inflation, even though they're completely different.
Yeah, and my understanding about the states and the feds is there's an element of separation. And the feds, like the president's actually there to preside over the running of the country. He isn't not emperor king. He's just to make sure everything's humming along. And my understanding is federal is to protect the union of states, and then you have the rest is states' rights, and so the states from there.
What I'm afraid of as far as freedom goes, is the doctor having the freedom to use his glove. But in all seriousness, the eye care industry here, or the eye care policy, or whatever it is, the apostrophe or quotes healthcare quote industry in Australia is now reviewing the synopsis of what's happened in Victoria, and they're trying to dump it on the doctors and nurses because of the spike, and saying about aerial things and stuff, aerial sprays and stuff like that. So the doctors and nurses go, hang on a moment, wait a moment here. What are you trying to do to us? So there's a big turnaround happening within everywhere because, as we know, these people want to point the finger, get all these things.
Trying to find a patsy.
Yeah, and find the patsy. But the patsies are them. They're the actual,
Oh, yeah. Like the second wave in Victoria is basically being traced back to the hotel quarantine fiasco back in March, April.
The security guard.
And it's security guard. Instead of the Victorian government outsourced for a security company, and they ignored the help of the Australian Defence Force, the Army. And it took 6-7 months for our Premier to say, I apologise for what happened. He didn't take responsibility. He just apologised for it happening, even though if it was in the corporate world, he would have been fired in May because 800 people – is it 800 people that died in Victoria?
802,
wow.
802. And when you're finished, I'd like to talk about this subject.
Yes, of course. I'm near the end, actually, because it's
cool.
Compared to the rest of Australia, for those following along, and why not? We're just a small country and we've just got a lot of space. I think it's roughly just over 900 people died from COVID, and 820 of them were in Victoria. Go ahead, John, actually, because I know you'll be more clued
here
into
in
this.
Victoria, as you and Harry and I think Cortek is up in New South Wales way. There's been some stuff come out, but of course it's not being reported on the media. From what I understand, what I know is the contracts were done in the middle of the night when this occurred back in March. Oh, the dates don't matter because I won't be telling the truth ones unless I've got the document in front of me. A phone call was made when they decided there was people coming off ships for that second wave that needed to be quarantined. There is a list of preferred security companies for emergency services. The company that has this contract wasn't even on the list.
Yeah. And how much was that contract? Sorry to interrupt. How much was that contract for again?
That contract was for $30 million.
Yeah,
I know some of the owners of that company.
Considering some of the most current news about people getting inside jobs for half the price and overcharging things double the price, just seems like common practice, doesn't it? Well, every single time.
The security company, and John, you'll be able to clarify this. They only got $3 million. So where did that $27 million go?
Wow. I heard it went to a horse.
We won't go there. There's no reason to.
As usual.
Where's the $27 trillion missing out of the American budget? In the secret
horses.
In the secret
all the horses.
space program or in somebody's back pocket?
Secret, but it's missing. That's all we really need to know. Hang on, something's wrong. So go ahead.
I don't want to hijack the thing, but just something that I saw just not long ago was the discussion of the power of. There seems to be a very big difference between Sky News Australia and anywhere else in the world.
Yeah,
it is. Well, Monty, you obviously listen. It's so pro-Trump, so Republican.
Yep, and it's Murdoch as well, which is interesting. It's owned by Rupert Murdoch, and I think also from a marketing perspective, they've gone conservative because our media is very. It's on the left. It's in the left side of things.
Yeah. So do you think they're just hedging their bets and saying, "Well, we'll just make something up that's on the other side, see what sells"?
No, man. I think
no.
So you've got to understand the ownership of News Corp. Now, News Corp is not what people think it is. Murdoch sold out in March last year. He sold his interest in Fox Entertainment, and that's the biggest part of News Corp, to Disney for $73.1 billion.
Does that mean his son's out of it as well? That's a lot of money.
Now, Cortek's lovely. This is the other part of the equation. You see, the shares that own Sky News are A-class Murdoch shares that go back to Dame Elizabeth and the original family. They're A-class shares. Rupert controls them. The sons control what's left of Fox.
Right.
And they're both right-wing boys, although one supposedly retired a few years ago. Who knows what? But it's a politics within the family. But, everyone jumps on Murdoch, but he's the one who's at least pumping the he's in some parts, some shows I've seen better reports in the conspiracy world.
Do you think he's trying to repent?
He's damn scared of what he's got to do when he meets his mother again.
Yes, I was about to say...
he's shit scared of Dame Elizabeth Murdoch. I'll stand behind her any day of the week, boys.
Yeah, Dame...
She had balls.
Yeah, the mother of Rupert Murdoch was basically, Jesus' little sister, if I can say it that way, in a levity way. She was completely awesome. I'm not sure about her husband. Was it Frank? Or am I thinking of the Packers? Anyway, the Dame, she was completely awesome. She didn't throw away money, but she was so charitable. She was nice, and it brings up the question of what the hell happened to Rupert, because he's like basically the opposite. It's two sides of the coin. And yeah, when Rupert transitions, she's going to be there. Go, Rupert, I'm not angry. I'm very disappointed.
Very, very disappointed.
Yeah, because you just look at her, like, so much that she put back into the community, and she was like, Alex Jones described how Trump wants everyone to win. She was like that, where like she knew she was well off and was living the high life completely, but she didn't really have an ego, from my understanding, and she wanted to share that with everybody. Like she would have buildings built for concerts and ballet and all this stuff, and she just gave back so much. John, you probably know a bit more.
Yeah, no, Monty and Cortek, yes, I'm with you. Great philanthropist, probably Australia's most unrecognised. But here in Victoria, in Melbourne, we have a thing called the Royal Melbourne Children's Hospital. There is the Dame Elizabeth Murdoch wings and units and surgery units. She put, I think, probably well over $1 billion into that hospital, and it ranks in the top 5 in the world for children's health.
When was that? What, like 60s or something? Like it was very.
The trust was begun in the 60s when you were saying Frank, but it wasn't Frank, because Frank Packer's, Kerry Packer's father.
Yes.
It was Jane Packer's father.
Yeah.
And dude, James Packer, interesting boy. I think he saw how bad it was, and he had a mental breakdown.
Yeah, because they didn't play the globalist game, because some people still have a soul, but the Murdochs.
I think Kerry must have been in the club, but sorry, let's go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, young James was also conditioned, if you know what I mean. He was sodomized, handed around by his father. So, if he's had a nervous breakdown, it's probably because some of that mental, injury is catching up on him too,
Yeah, the program's breaking type thing.
Yeah, it certainly is. And so, oh my goodness. And the same when you look at Matthew Newton, Bert Newton's son as well, sorry, going off track a little bit, but, talking about young men in the prominent, with prominent fathers that have, had these breakdowns, and there's a lot to say for the brotherhood and the secrecy that's around these secret societies, and just what the sons of these big men have to endure,
Yeah, I'm just very happy. No, not everything's horse related, Brandon. Sometimes they buy a yacht. I'm very glad that we're talking about Australian stuff. It's only been 5 years, but we made it. But for our American listeners, it's similar, not exactly the same, but it's similar to what Britney Spears has gone through with her breakdown, where I think also, I'm not sure about Lady Gaga, but she actually sort of had that moment of like, hang on, stop. And Dave Chappelle did his stuff about 10, 15 years ago, where he had the highest rating comedy show on Comedy Central, was offered $50 million and decided, nope, I'm leaving, I'm going to Africa. And that freaked out the entertainment industry. It's like, how could you walk away from that? And Dave said, I have to look after me. So even if they're not operatives or they're part of the dark, nefarious system, they sort of try and manipulate people to be used without knowing. But people wake up to it and go, you know what? I'm not going to I can't think of the word. Basically, no. I'm not going to complete mental blank, but I'm not compromised. I'm not going to compromise myself.
Let me say this. I get this sense from a few things that you pick up on the nuance of the career of Dave Chappelle and some of the background details of his life. I think he's got his own particular agenda, right? And because look, he could have given a more virtuous answer just in a humble way and not trying to act like, he's running around like a saint, right? He said, okay, I'm looking out for me. So, there's that. I listened to Owen Benjamin, and Owen Benjamin's got a beef because he can prove that he stole his joke. The joke about the LGBTs in the car to equality or whatever the joke was, right? And it's a great joke, and he put it in that Netflix special he did in like 2018 or 19 or whatever, right? Now, Dave Chappelle's a Muslim, and people like him because he doesn't, put his Muslim in your face. He keeps it chill, and he's as American as apple pie, right? And that's an important distinction, right? So it's like he's not a good guy or a bad guy, I suppose. I think he's neutral, and he's got a plan, for when things go south. But at the same time, he doesn't have he doesn't have a reason to insult America, and nobody can pressure him. Like, that's the thing. They can't seem to get Chappelle to like go on Stephen Colbert and say some horrible things about Trump with him, right? Like, that's not happening with Dave Chappelle. But Dave Chappelle's also not out there saying, you know what, there's a deep state. I hate Donald Trump, but good luck. He's not saying that either. All right. So he's got his own agenda. Don't treat him like he's an absolute being of light.
No. He's not playing the system. That's sort of, as you were just saying, that's sort of my perception is he's not playing the game, but he hasn't gone to the other side, put on a white robe and said, I am king. So he just wants to live his life and enjoy and make people laugh, which is very, that living the American dream with do no harm.
Yeah, and it's like he's what I would call, by the merit that you practically forget that he's a Muslim, that he's a great Muslim, that, he's a good role model for Muslims, to be honest with you, just based on that, just like the way, Malcolm X was and Muhammad Ali.
Assalamu alaikum.
Oh yeah, I love. I've got a joke about Muhammad Ali, which I'm sure would trigger people. But I think he became a better boxer after the Parkinson's because you would never see it coming.
Oh God!
Hey.
Yes. Monty Dean has finally crossed the threshold of jokes that land you in hell.
Yeah, I don't believe in hell. And even if I turn up, it's like, really? There's no waiters, self-serve
together.
Well, listen. It's Norse hell. It's Norse hell.
Yes.
I'll get a long boat and a long sword. Go ahead.
Can I polarize the conversation to heaven now?
What version of heaven? But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, at Islam, seriously, I contacted the Islamic Research and Scientific and Research Academy in Melbourne this week. And
what do they do generally?
Well, generally they're an outpost for Islamic, people coming in.
I was going to say fundamentalists.
coming through Melbourne. Really, that's what it is. Anyway, I've another time. I'll tell you another funny story another time. But this is more important because everyone's focused on the bad bug and this and that, right? But at the end of the day, we need to look towards what are we going to project towards the heaven, And it's all based around the Temple of Jerusalem. And the Dome of the Rock is controlled by the Muslims. So I've contacted the imam and said, look, I want to start a discussion group on the restoration of the Temple of Jerusalem and also how we're going to address the strategy of the UN with their sustainability if they want to vaccinate everyone, because that's just not right, it's ridiculous, So he's put me on to another guy who I've mentioned to once, and he's busy building something, so I've got to get back to him. But that's the idea, is to start working towards things that are more, uplifting and more thought-provoking and more, instead of playing the game. And it's not going to require, it's going to require a whole group of different people, ecumenically or interracial, interfaithful, whatever, across the board. Because when you start pointing out things this way and that with this one and this one with that, you're not going to get anywhere because you're subterfuging yourself from the start, because you're polarizing to one group or another.
Right.
Yeah. Mind you, I'm not a fan of religion.
Anyway, so I just thought I'd share that with you because I just want to bring some positive spin on things as well. Because it's got to be, are we all going to focus on going to hell in a handbasket, or are we going to focus on developing heaven on earth?
Well, basically, and it starts with a conversation, and that's what you're basically doing, is just trying to start a conversation, which is kind of a rebel act in this moment of now, because everything is so polarized and belief engines are cracking, because you've seen it. It doesn't. You could pick any part of reality or humanity where there's certain people that are they've got so much vision, they're so focused, it turns into tunnel vision. And if you bring in an outside bit of information, which is a truth, they ignore it because it's not part of their belief system they've created.
Yeah, the focus groups. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's just not religion. It's just with anybody where it's like, yeah, but what about this? Smurfs are all male. What about Smurfette? No, completely wrong. It's like, well, hang on. So, yeah. Now we're coming up to the end, so we're going to bring out a couple of, and I'll have to go through the list here. We've got a lot of people. So, Brandon, any final thoughts?
No, just thanks, guys. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and thanks for having me on, Monty. Good to talk to everybody.
Thank you for turning up. It's interesting here, the reach of Americanism. We don't have Thanksgiving, but we now we have Black Friday as well as Cyber Monday. Yeah, it's all about business and everything else like that.
I heard
Cortek
Halloween coming there too as well.
Yeah, that's getting bigger as well. Yeah, Cortek, any final thoughts?
No, I'm good. Just thanks for the chat. It's been good to speak to everyone.
Excellent, Harry.
Yippee yahoo ha ha! There you go.
You can quote him. John.
Yeah, man, it is what it is.
Yeah, that works for me. Yeah, Mr. Z.
Have a good night,
guys. Thank you so much.
No, you're not John. You're Steve. I'm going down a list. Steve, anything else to add?
Yeah. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. It's been interesting, so it'll be interesting to see the comments on the YouTube thing. Our newest member to the Planet Collingwood family, Eilish. I'm sorry. Eilish. Eilish.
Eilish, yeah. Thank you so much for having me, gentlemen. I hope to have another appearance soon, and get into some more nitty-gritty conversations. And thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you, because it's good to have the feminine energy to give a bit of balance. It's Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Melbourne time.
Right.
That's the show is. And we've said goodbye to Steve. Viking, any passing thoughts? And give out your show as well.
So we do a show called the Galactic Interstellar Council Down the Rabbit Hole Galactic Perspective, Fridays at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This week we'll be talking part 3 of The Dark Spell is Broken. And just really quickly here, the Heaven and Hell has been our challenge to be able to determine our own reality and fate. People that are still stuck in this 3D paradigm will be transferred to a biosphere to undergo traumatic triage. So they will be deprogrammed, but if they can't make it this first time around. Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. And that's spiritually deprogrammed. It won't be like AOC wants to put Trump supporters into a camp, pre-programming. Just pointing that out. And Wally, are you still there?
I'm still here, not frozen yet, Monty, but thanks for having me. I didn't really get to say anything, but it was very interesting. So
that's the politest way you can describe the show. Yes, it was interesting.
Yeah, interesting, and just have to have eyes and ears open.
Yeah. So this is Planet Collingwood. We'll be back in 6 days and 22 hours for another chat. I'm sure that'll be day 28 of the election. And just remember, you're awesome and you have fun out there. Take care. We all love you from afar. You're awesome. See you soon. Take care, somebody. Everybody. What am I talking about? I'm fading out.